Well, in the last session we discussed about typeset command. What are the attributes in this typeset command? So this is small l. Okay. So what are the attributes with this typeset command? So L for lowercase, U uppercase, I integer, R and L and R. Okay. So write justification with the width of n characters. Okay. So left to justify with a width of n characters, ln. So these are some attributes. Next we have discussed about input and output statements in KSHELL scripting. Okay. So what are input statements and output statement? Output statement is print and input statement is read. Using read, you can read a data from a file or from input device, that is keyboard. Okay. So you can read line by line from a file or you can read data from the keyboard. Okay. So these are input and output statements which we discussed in the last session. In this session we are going to discuss about environment variables. Environment variables. So what is this environment variable? So environment variables controls the user environment. Okay. So these controls the user environment. What is your current working directory? Okay. Or what is your prompt? What is your path? Okay. So what is your present working directory? Okay. So like this, what is your shell? What is the input term? So these are all environments, user environment. So using environment variables, we can set user environment or we can control the user environment. Suppose we are using some wildcard characters. Okay, how to disable this one, how to enable this one. Okay, these are all set in the environment variables. Okay, so we'll discuss some commonly used environment variables. Variable and its description. So generally we use some CD path. So system variables. So these are all a kind of system variables. So all in capital letters only. So these are all reserved for Unix or these are all reserved for KSHELL. Okay. So generally these are all reserved in the Unix operating system. Okay, CD path. So this is one system, environment variable. It contains the search path or CD command. Okay, CD path. It will search. Suppose with your CD command, you will specify some path. Okay, so this path will be searched by this environment variable CD path. Okay. It contains the search path for CD command. It should be small case only, CD command. Okay. So next one, columns. So this columns is environment variable. It defines the width in characters. In characters of your terminal. So how many characters? A column. Okay, column characters. So it defines the width. So this screen width. What is the screen width in terms of characters? Okay, so it defines that width. Next one, editor. So this is also system variable. So it contains path name. So it contains the path name of the command line editor. So first let me write down all the variables which we use. Environment, env is another variable. Okay, so next to history file, history file size. So we have separate topic on this history where we will see this one. Home, it contains the home directory. Lines, the number of lines your screen contains. Okay, next to log name, so default log name, mail, if anything is configured, user mails are set. Mail check, mail path, old pw, old password, pwd, present working directory, old present working directory, path, pwd present working directory. For primary prompt, ps1, secondary prompt means your display prompt $sign. So we have secondary prompt also, ps2. Like this we have 4 prompts, ps2, ps3, ps4, primary, secondary, third, fourth. Okay, we have 4 kinds of prompts. The fourth one is debug prompt. Sum. Okay, fine. These are the system variables. All the system, we'll see how to see all these system variables also. We can see that. Okay, so these are all some environment variables. So these are all defined in the Unix operating system. That's why all variables in lower, capital letters only. It should be in uppercase only. Okay, so you should not use any lowercase. Okay, so we'll see what it is going to display. Open one terminal. Here you can display these using echo statement. Like suppose we have seen one change directory path. Okay, so that is cd path command, environment variable, cd path, change directory path. So it contains your cd command path. Okay, so here we are not using any cd command. Suppose if I use some command like cd space csr. Okay, now just echo this one. Okay, first we'll change to KSHELL. cd path. So if this does not contain any value, we can see all the variables, environment variables and their path. Okay, try to print should be in lowercase. Print columns, how many columns are there. Okay, so here your screen contains 144 columns. So this is the column and these are rows. Okay, so it contains 144 columns. Okay, so next one we will try to print what is the editor. Okay, path name of the command line editor. What is the command line editor path? So print, it should be in lowercase, print space $editor. So this is one environment variable. It contains your command line editor path. Okay, so this is empty. $env. So this environment variable contains path name of the environment file. So here KSHRC is the environment file. So it contains, so env file variable contains that particular path. Okay, next to history file. Okay, to see the history file, print $HISTFILE. Okay, so it contains nothing. And to see the size of this one, hist size. Okay, so file contains no information, that's why it doesn't contain any size. Okay, so next to see the lines, so here 41 lines it is supporting, generally 24 lines. Okay, so here in Unix it is supporting 41 lines. Okay, to see the log name, there is an environment variable log name. So HD user is the log name. Okay, so it contains the user's login name from the, it will take this particular login name from password file. Okay, so next, if users are set to some mails, to access mails, if it is configured to see the mail, okay, absolute path for the user's mailbox, then we can use environment variable mail. So print mail. So no, it is not configured, so no user is configured with some mails. Okay, so these are all some to see the primary prompt. Generally here we are getting dollar sign, right? So to see the primary prompt, okay, there is a variable environment variable ps1. So display that variable value, print dollar ps1. It will display the primary prompt. So here our primary prompt is dollar sign. To see the secondary prompt, print dollar ps2. It will display secondary prompt, so greater than symbol. Okay, so this is the secondary prompt. If you open some other application, it will display this secondary prompt. Okay, so these are all some environment variables. Okay, if you want to see the complete list of environment variables, what are all the environment variables present, to see the complete list, we have one command. So using that command you can see the complete list of environment variables. Okay, so that command is set command. So set, okay, set is also one command. This is used to see the complete environment variables and their values. Okay, now press enter, it will display all the list of environment variables. See, this is the primary prompt, secondary prompt, error prompt. Okay, so these are all some environment variables. Okay, so all these variables, columns is configured, it is assigned with some value 144. Okay, so here display :0, it has some value :0. env variable has some environment file path. Okay, so these are the environment variables. So you can set some values to these variables. Okay, or you can unset the values. We have commands to set the value of environment variable and to unset the value, means to remove the value of this environment variable. We have another command, that is unset command. Okay, so set command allows you to how to set a variable value. Just variable name equals to value, it will set the value. To unset the value, we have unset command. Okay, next one, how to display the variable value. I want to display this environment variable value. I want to display this environment variable value. Then use print command. Print that variable $ variable name. It will display the value stored in this variable. So these are all environment variables. Okay, how to see these variables? Set command. Set without any parameters. Without any parameters. It will display all environment variables present in your operating system, Unix operating system. So these are all environment variables set in this Unix operating system. Okay, so out of these, some may be system variables and some may be user variables as well. Assume that, suppose take this one, this is some user variable. Okay, so this is one user environment variable. Here is set environment for this particular application or program. Okay, for this Hadoop we set the environment of this Hadoop. Okay, so like this it contains all the system as well as user environment variables and their values. Okay. Next one, how to set and unset some options. So here another topic is, next topic is options. Okay, so these are all environment variables. Suppose if you want to disable the functionality of wildcard characters, you can do that. Or if you want to stop execution process, there is no execute option. So this no execute option will disable the wildcard expansions. Suppose if you use star, it is a wildcard character. It refers to 0 or 1 or more characters. Those characters can be anything. Okay, so this is functionable when this particular option is set. Okay, otherwise it will be disabled. Okay, so we'll see what are the options available. So these options in KSHELL are used to control the way its commands are executed. Okay, suppose take this no execute, no exec. So this is one option. This option is to disable the wildcard expansion like star or something else. Okay, so ignore. Suppose to end of file, to replace. Suppose you are creating one file using cat command. Okay, now you are creating some file using cat command. To save and to terminate the file, you have to close it by pressing Ctrl D, right? So by pressing Ctrl D, so this Ctrl D will place end of file. Okay, so if you want to make it ignore, there is an option ignore end of file. Okay, so that option is ignore end of file, EOF. Okay, so these options can be used to control the command executions. Okay, so we'll see what are those options available in this Unix operating system. There are few options. First one, all export. Okay, it should be in lowercase. All export. All export means if you set this option or if you use this option, it sets all variables. All variables. By default, it will be local. If you use this one, it will set all variables to be exported. Okay, so this is one option. It is used to set all variables, whatever the variables you use. If you are writing, if you use this option in your script, whatever the variables you use in your program, all variables will be exported. Means you can use those variables in other scripts as well. Okay, Emacs. So this Emacs for command line editing and history file. It should be in lowercase. Command line editing and history file. So we have a separate topic on this history file. We'll see that. Okay, so next, ignore end of file, EOF. Okay, so ignore EOF. So this disallows Control D, CTRL plus D. So this Control D we are using for to save and exit. Okay, to exit the shell. Okay, so it will disallow the Control D. If you press Control D, it will not be allowed to exit the shell. Next, no exec, no execute. So it will disable all wildcard expansions. it should be in lowercase. Next, VI. So this is also an option. This uses VI for command line editing and history file. Command line editing. Okay. Suppose previously when you log in into the system, we have bourne shell. It doesn't allow the. I mean, you can use up and down arrow keys to get the previous command or next command. Okay. If it is VI editor, you have to use only VI editor commands. Okay. So this option is for command line editing and history file. Okay, so these are some options. We can use these options to set or to unset. Okay, so you can on or off the feature of these options. Okay, how to use this one? Set space, you can use either minus or plus. Set minus or plus. Okay, suppose if minus O, okay, set the option minus O. Okay, if you use minus option, it turns the particular option is on. Okay, suppose I am using this option no global, no globe. Okay, so no global or no exec. Okay, we'll take no exec. Okay, so this minus O will turn this particular option on. Okay, no exec option on. Okay, how to set another way? Plus O. So this will off, this will no exec. So use this particular set command to set or unset, okay, or to make it on or off the any option. Okay, so this plus will turn particular option off. So this will turn a particular option on. Okay, so you can make on and off these options. Okay, to see the list of all options, there is a command. So this command will display all your options. What are all the options? Like environment variables, we use set to see the list of all environment variables. To see the options, there is a command. Okay, so that command is set of for options minus O. Okay, so if you don't specify any option, it will display all list of options. So here these are all list of options and their status, whether it is on or off. Okay, now VI is off. Okay, so that's the reason you are able to use this command line. Otherwise, if it is on, okay, how to set that one? Set, how to set that one? How to make it on? Minus O VI. Okay, now see this. See, before executing this command, the value of this set command is off, right? Now see this one, set minus O. Now it is on. Okay, now see here, I am using up and down arrow keys. I am using up and down arrow keys so that I am able to get previous commands. Okay, that's the reason I am able to get previous commands using up and down arrow keys. Otherwise, if it is off, then you have to use only VI editor commands. At the command line, you have to use only VI editor commands. Okay, so apart from VI editor commands, you can't get the files up and down. So now I am going to change this option like set plus O. Okay, I'll write this one, set plus O VI. Now we are making off. Okay, now if you use, okay, first let me see this one, set minus O. Now see this option, it is off. Okay, now if you use up or down arrow keys, it will not work. It will display some junk characters. The reason is, if you want to get previous command, okay, let me close it. If you want to get previous command, change to command mode by pressing escape. Okay, now press K. Okay, so arrow keys will not work, even backspace also. Okay, sometimes it will not work. Now it is in VA editor command line mode. Okay, like this you can take, suppose exec, it is executable, or we will take, suppose here I am saying ls minus lrt. Here it is displaying all the files ls minus lrt star txt. Here I will get only text files. So this star is wildcard character. This star is wildcard character. Now this particular option, this wildcard character option is on. Okay. See this one, set -o. Wildcard character option is no exec. See this, now it is on. Okay, if you make it off, set +o exec, now it is off. Okay, now here I am saying where is the exec executable. Okay, it is on, it is not turning off. Oh, we should say minus on. So this exec option, to make it off, I should use plus. I used that. Okay. Set +o space exec. Now see set -o this exec. So it is not changing. The reason is it is some system. It depends on the system. We should do it as a sudo user, like sudo set +o exec. It will ask for password, hd user. Okay, hd user password. Yes, it is not allowing the password. Okay, so some options you can change. So based on that one, you can make that feature off or on. Okay, like we have seen for VA editor command. So these are the options available in this, and environment variables. So environment variables are used to set or change the environment variable values. Okay, so they are used for the user environment. You can control the user environment by using environment variables, and options are like features. You can on or off the features. To see the complete list of options, set space -o. Only set will display environment variables. To display only options, -o. -o without any parameter. It will display list of options and their status, like it is on or off. Okay. Now next one is history command. So this history file, when you are using commands at the command prompt, it will create one history file at the root directory, I mean in the home directory. What is our present working directory? CSR. We will go to home directory. So what is our present working directory? Home. Here if you see the list of files which are hidden files, here you can find one file. Yes, this is the history file. Okay, so this history file contains the previously used commands or executed commands at the command prompt. Okay, so we have one command to see this history. That command is history. Okay, history is not found. Okay, exit from this shell. History. Now see here, it will show you the complete history, like these are all previously used commands sometime back, not in this session, in the previous sessions as well. Okay, so these are all the commands which we used in the earlier sessions. Okay, so all these used commands, executed commands at the command prompt will be placed in the history file which we have seen. Okay, so generally that history file can present in the home directory. That file name is sh underscore history. Okay, shell history, sh underscore history. So it is a hidden file, that's why file name precede with dot symbol. Okay, fine. Now what is the user bill? Suppose I want to run this particular command. Okay, now see here, there is a command which used earlier. I want to run this command. Again I need not to type this command. There is a command, rerun command. So rerun, and it is displaying some number. This history file is contained. This is the number and command used. Okay, so using this number I can rerun this particular command. So that number is, command number is 1515. So R is the rerun command, R space 1515. Okay, so this command will be executed. Okay, so we are, R is not currently installed, so we'll install it. It takes some time. So R is a command which is used to rerun the command. Okay, so R space your command number, it will display the command number. Okay, so here along with this command we have some options. Okay, suppose when I say history, first it is displaying the number and command name. Okay, or command which we used. Okay, so to disable this number we have an option, that is history space -n. So this -n will not display the numbers, line numbers or command numbers. It will not display the line numbers. Okay, so if you want to start your history, yeah, I mean start displaying the history from particular number, line number, then history space that line number, it will start displaying the history from that particular line. Okay, so we'll see all those once it is done. It will be executed. We are opening another terminal. Now see, history space, if I say only history, it will display line number and I mean command number and your command used. Okay, now history -n. Okay, so it will display only no -n. Okay, 3985. See, this command is not fully installed, that's the reason we are not getting any output. So history -n, it will display, I'll write down all those options along with this history command. should be in lowercase. Let me see whether it is completed or not. It is still under process. Okay, history, it will display the history only. Okay, actually this history will display only last few lines, like some only last 16 commands it will be displayed. Okay, like see fc minus l, it will display only last few lines. Okay, if you count this one, how many? 16. So this history will also display only last 16, but here we are getting so many, I mean, oh, we are getting all the lines. Okay, fine, it's okay. So this command is not completely fully installed, that's the reason we are not getting proper output. So history will display only last 16 lines. So to get last 16 lines, you can also use this fc minus l. It will display last 16 lines, recently used commands. Okay, fine. So next one, history minus n. History minus n, small n. Okay, so this option list last 16 commands. Okay, commands without command number. Without the command number. Next option, history n. History n. N means you will specify some number. Okay, either some 1500, 2000, whatever it may be, depends on your history. You can specify some number, then it will list commands starting from that, starting with that particular number n. Okay, example, history 1515. So it will start displaying the history from this particular command number onwards. Okay, not the previous ones. Okay, next, history minus some number. Okay, suppose like 3. Okay, so it will list only last 3 commands. It will list only last 3 commands. Okay, so these are the few options you can use with this command history. Okay, it is still installing. History minus suppose 5. Okay, invalid option. So this is not fully installed. You can use it in your system and try this. History will display last 16 and history minus n will suppress, or it will not display the command line numbers. So that option minus n, small case. Okay, okay, fine. This installation process will continue and you can try these commands in your system. Next we'll continue with next chapter. Okay, so in the scripting part we have done with interactive count shell. What are the features of KSHELL? What is shell? KSHELL. What are the features of KSHELL? What are input output statements in KSHELL? Okay, so these are all we discuss. What are environment variables and options? So generally you use some environment variables as well as user variables in your scripting. Okay, so based on the requirement, sometimes you might be using these options. Okay, and how to see the list of options, how to see the list of environment variables present in the system. Okay, so all these topics were discussed in this chapter. Our next chapter is KSHELL programming. We'll start with programming. So here we'll discuss about how to create variables, what are conditional statements. Okay, in KSHELL. Okay, what are conditional? We discussed conditional statements in AWK command. Okay, here in KSHELL, how do we write statements? What are different type of statements? What is the syntax of conditional statements? Okay, so all these programming part will start in the next session onwards, next chapter, next session.